That trustee sponsors Let's Talk About Animals, hosted by Jewel.
And today, because we had so much to talk about in part one, we're going to be having What Happens to Horses Part 2 with our very special guest, Richard Rubin and Sharon Levine. So welcome today again, and this is part two of our segment. And it's so wonderful. I would like for you to talk more about the animal, the horse rescue aspect of this, and of course more about the Vineyard and the wonderful opportunity it is for families to come out. They can actually come to the Vineyard and see what goes on firsthand in the animal rescue business.
May I start by saying how very pleased we are that you had us back to continue this discussion, because we enjoyed the first segment so much. Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard is really a labor of love for us, and with the addition of our horse rescue, it has really become something so very special in our lives. So thank you for that. And I also want to just point out how excited we are to see during your introduction that there are some films of some of our horses that you had taken on location.
Well, they were spectacular. Your horse and your vineyard and the stables are so immaculate and so beautiful and so personal. After you meet your horses, they kind of like grab you, you know, and it's a very personal thing. And Richard, thank you so much for all that you do and for those kind words. But I would like to have you, this segment, talk about where the Vineyard is. I don't even think we told people how to get there.
You know, that's true. I think we were so enthusiastic about covering so much material with you and so much good discussion that we neglected to say how conveniently it's located. It's actually the first vineyard that you come to when you're heading out east. It's off of the Long Island Expressway at exit 71, just 3.8 miles, so it's very accessible. You go straight north until you get to Sound Avenue, which comes up rather quickly. You make a right turn and we're immediately on the left. And it's kind of exciting what goes on there, particularly on the weekends, although we're open 6 days a week, every day but Tuesday. On the weekends from 2 to 6, there's live entertainment. We spare no expense. We have great blues bands and rock bands. We've kind of created a little bit of a different template in terms of the experience from other vineyards, and we're proud of it. We've designed the place so that our backyard is almost a very suburban-like vibe. In the context of a vineyard and a farm and horse rescue operation, and of course our very featured tasting house where we feature our terrific, wonderful wines. They're both terrific and wonderful, by the way. How to use both adjectives.
I agree to that.
But yeah, and so what happens is it promotes, the suburban feel promotes a real comfort, a sense of comfort, and people seem to love to hang out there for extended periods of time, and oftentimes when they're out for a day at the vineyards, you know, we're so accessible that on impulse you can come right to Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard for a couple hours, just kick back, drink some wine, listen to a great band, enjoy one of our free tours. But if you're planning on going to a few vineyards, it's so available and accessible on both the way out and on the way back that what we find as pattern is that people will come, and if they're not inclined to stay and hang out, which many do for hours upon end, they'll go out and see a couple more vineyards and stop on the way back again. So we'll catch them on the way out, on the way back. And we're just so pleased that it means so very much to so many people. The reviews have been just spectacular.
Well, what's so incredible is the line of limousines that wind up stacked there. It was so funny because when I was coming there, I came back, and it was so easy to spot you because there are so many. There are hundreds of cars there. I don't know how you handle that many people. And everybody's so happy and so relaxed, and being out there in that wonderful outdoor setting. In fact, I want us to show a clip of that so people can actually see firsthand how really marvelous, what a great job you do of entertaining your guests on weekends. So here we are at the Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard
and Horse Rescue.
Horse Rescue. And in fact, we're here at the Vineyard with the owner, who's Richard Rubin, and he has done a marvelous job, first to the philanthropic level and rescuing horses, and that's why we're here today. Thank you, Richard, for inviting us to come out and see firsthand, to meet the horses, and also to go through the vineyard.
It's our pleasure. It's what we do for very special guests like yourself on an individual basis, but we do it for countless of thousands of people on a regular basis. Yeah. Okay, I guess this is our group. But horse rescue is a very serious matter. So before I start every horse tour, I take the opportunity to just let you know that if what you see here is meaningful, and if you want to wrap your arms around it in any way, that you can do so without spending any money at all. They have very strong instincts. They know their doom is imminent, so they don't trust, and it's very hard to get close to them. Right. So when they come in, they don't look the way you're going to see Angel now looking 3 years later. And this is Angel over here to my right. So they just cast him aside, and he was to be slaughtered, and he was in the kill pen with Angel. And so was Mirage over there, who's an Arabian. We oftentimes will have her hair braided. In fact, we did it so often, we were contemplating changing her name to Beyonce. What do you think? Do you think that was a good idea? No. When she first came in, we had to get a horse whisperer to work with her because she was so unapproachable. But look at her now. They're all so wonderfully socialized.
How old are they?
And it's because of people like yourselves that they are.
What are their ages?
These two are 22 and 15. Oh. Now horses can live till they're 35, 40, or even more. So when we make a commitment to rescue, it's really a long-term commitment.
Yeah. Among other famous horses rescued here at Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard, we have Sir Galahad, offspring of Man of War.
And he planted himself in front of that foal, and he defended that foal. And word got out, not only of his wonderful heritage, but also of what he did, the valor that he showed. So we named him Sir Galahad, and he's been here ever since.
And here is Romeo, the great-great-grandson of the Secretariat from the movie. He won not one, but 2 Belmont races, but after his prime, at the ripe old age of 5, he was scheduled for the kill pen. Fortunately, a driver recognized him, and he was rescued by Sharon and Richard here at Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard Horse Rescue. For now, let's get back to the party.
We spare no expense when it comes to the service model. Mm-hmm. We come from a background in a business where it was all about the guest. Mm-hmm. And our business had been Weight Watchers. A lot of people don't know. It was a family business for over 40 years. Mm-hmm. So it was always about validating the person coming to Weight Watchers, their decision to do just that. And it was never really about the dollar. Mm-hmm. We would have meetings, countless meetings, where it was always centered around the experiencing, wearing the individual's hat when coming to Weight Watchers. And we do the very same thing now. We look at it from the perspective of the person coming to spend a great day. We want that experience to be wonderful, so we have countless amounts of staff to be able to really micromanage every aspect of that experience. When you talked about limos and buses, well, it's not unusual to see 3 or 4 staff members out in the parking areas so that we can accommodate those things and it isn't chaotic.
Well, we try to offset it, though, too. You know, we don't want to take away from the family experience. For us, it's always been about family. We have a large family. We love doing this together, and we love hosting this great big party every weekend. You know, we created a place where people could bring their own families. And actually, when they come in, we have a welcome center set up, and 9 times out of 10, they will be greeted by a family member, because we do try to host the whole thing, you know, ourselves.
And I don't know how you have the energy to do all that you do.
Neither do we.
I know, it's like incredible. I've seen you at so many events, like in the last week or two, and like doing philanthropic things for the community, helping other rescue organizations with their rescues, and just basically with Wolfers and the winery thing, and you're promoting the horse rescue wines. You're everywhere. You're omnipresent, and you're like, then you still sparkle when you do these tours for the children and the families, and even take such interest in when the kids are wanting to do the pony rides there. Every detail has been so planned, and it's done with heart and warmth, and it's just incredible, even how you talk about each horse as though it was a baby. In fact, Richard, I've heard you talk more about the horses than I have your own children.
I don't know how popular that is with the family, but I have to say we're very focused, you know, and we're concentrating very much on having the very, very best to share with everyone. And we do that not just at Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard, but when we go out to such events to promote our wines or to support an organization, whether it be a charitable cause or not. And yeah, so it's really hard for that not to come across because it's so genuine.
Sharon, I would love for you to tell the story about how you were on the internet. First of all, let's talk a little bit about your beautiful dogs, because I think you had dogs before you had horses.
I'm a dog person, yes, yes. And that's why I'm so very interested in what you do, because that's absolutely fabulous, and we're tremendous dog lovers in our families, family. Really, that's how I came to have some education about the horse slaughter issue. And it was because I'm so into dogs. I have 2 show dogs, and I seemed to be on every email list in the world, and I just kept getting various emails about ending horse slaughter. And I was just so appalled, as most people are. I mean, when we take these tours out ourselves, you know, we're meeting so many people, and 9 out of 10 of them are totally unaware that horse slaughter exists. Yeah. And I was just like them. I was shocked to find that it still existed. But I really thought that it was old, sick horses. I was still appalled by it. But when I began to delve into it, the first thing I heard about was a 1.5-year-old thoroughbred filly in the kill pen. And at the time, I thought that was an anomaly. I didn't think that happened, and I figured, oh my goodness, somebody's got to grab her. It happens that the trucks leave Fridays at 4 o'clock, and this was a Friday at 1 o'clock. And so there was really no time to think about certain logistical things like, how do you take care of a horse? Because I really didn't know how. But we just kind of just jumped in, and by the end of that day, actually, we had rescued 5 of them.
Oh, so you went to get 1 horse, and then, so Richard, how did you get absorbed in all of this? How did you take it?
Well, I've always been the kind of individual that I actually loved horses from an early age, but I've always been the kind of individual that dogs have been my life also. And I would go into a pet store and I'd want to leave with every puppy, as like most people feel they want to leave with every puppy. And I think that we got caught up in this opportunity, which was centered around this 1.5-year-old thoroughbred filly that was in a kill pen actually in Pennsylvania. And from that, I think, you know, we just decided to wrap our arms around a good deal more than just her. And she's, by the way, called Angel. When she came to us, she was emaciated, and you can only imagine how mistreated horses are when they're earmarked for slaughter. So what we go through when horses come to us is something in the way of a process that's become very, very much ingrained in us. And that's really winning them over and making them feel loved and secured. Their instincts are so profound. They know that they're on the verge of losing their lives. It's a terrible thing. So when they come, they don't trust when they're rescued. And you build that up over time. And what's so great is our horses are so socialized from the countless free tours that take place on weekends between the hours of 2 and 6. It's actually when the performers are not performing, we take the people out, our guests out.
These wonderful dance bands, and then they stop, and then you have the tours.
Yes,
but you have like
it
a
coordinates.
Couple of tours, don't you?
Oh, several during the course of the day before they even start, and even after.
We can, on any given day on a weekend, we can take hundreds of people back there, and we really we embrace that opportunity. We don't charge people for that tour. We feel it's a responsibility that we have, and we consider our horses are working horses and that they are ambassadors for horse slaughter. They've been lucky. They've